Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudirayat Shanvadam Sukada Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hriyandasto Bhadrani Vidunodi Sukursadam Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavada Sevaya Bhagavadi Uttama Sloge Bhaktir Bhavati Naistagi. Hare Krishna. Today I'm going to read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, verses 12 and 13. Text 12. Chinnanyadir Adigadatmagedir Nirihas Tattatyajay Achinaditam Vayunena Yena Tavanayoga Gadipir Pramatu Yavat Kadagraja Kadashuritim Nakuryat. Chinna being separated, Anyati, all other concepts of life, Adhigada being firmly convinced, Atmagadi, the ultimate goal of spiritual life, Niriha, desireless, that, Tatyajay, give up, Achinadi, Achinad, he had cut, Idam, this Vayunena, with the knowledge, Ena, by which, Tavat, so long, Na, never, Yogi, Yoga Gadipi, the practice of the mystic yoga system, Yediha, the practitioner, Apramat, without any illusion, Yavat, so long, guard Agraja of Krishna, Kadashu, words, Redim, attraction, Na, never, Kuryat, do it. Translation and purport by Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. When he became completely free from the conception of bodily life, Maharaj Prithu realized Lord Krishna sitting in everyone's heart as the Paramatma. Being thus able to get all instructions from him, he gave up all other practices of yoga and jnana. He was not even interested in the perfection of the yoga and jnana systems, for he thoroughly realized that devotional service to Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and that unless the yogis and jnanis being attracted to Krishna Katha, narrations about Krishna, their illusions concerning existence can never be dispelled. Purport. As long as one is too much absorbed in the bodily conception of life, he becomes interested in many different processes of self realization, such as the mystic yoga system or the system utilizing the speculative empiric methods. However, when one understands that the ultimate goal of life is to approach Krishna, he realizes Krishna within everyone's heart and therefore helps everyone who is interested in Krishna consciousness. Actually, the perfection of life depends on one's inclination to hear about Krishna. It is therefore mentioned in the verse Yavad Gadagraja Kadashu Redimna Kuryat. Unless one becomes interested in Krishna, in his pastimes and activities, there is no question of liberation by means of yoga practice or speculative knowledge. Having attained to the stage of devotion, Maharaj Prithu became uninterested in the practices of jnana and yoga and abandoned them. This is the stage of pure devotional life as described by Rupa Goswami. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavrutam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttamam. Real jnana means understanding that the living entity is the eternal servant of the Lord. This knowledge is attained after many, many births, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. In the Paramahamsa stage of life, one fully realizes Krishna as everything. Vasudeva Sarvamidi, Samhatma Sudurlabha. When one understands fully that Krishna is everything and that Krishna consciousness is the highest perfection of life, he becomes a Paramahamsa or Mahatma. Such a Mahatma or Paramahamsa is very rare to find. A Paramahamsa or pure devotee is never attracted by Hatha Yoga or speculative knowledge. He is simply interested in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. Sometimes one who was formerly addicted to these processes tries to perform devotional service and the jnana and yoga practices at the same time, but as soon as one comes to the unalloyed stage of devotional service, he is able to give up all other methods of self realization. In other words, when one firmly realizes Krishna as the supreme goal, he is no longer attracted by mystic yoga practice or the speculative empirical methods of knowledge. Text 13. एवं सवीरप्रवारः संयोज्य आत्मानम् आत्मनि ब्रह्मभूतो धृतं काले तत्यजा swam kalevaram evam. Thus, he, Veerapravaraha, the chief of the heroes, Samyojya, applying Atmana mind, Atmani unto the Supreme Soul, Brahma Buddha, being liberated, Dridam firmly, Kale, in due course of time, Tatyaja, give up, Swam, own, Kalevaram, body. Translation. In due course of time, when Prithu Maharaj was to give up his body, he fixed his mind firmly upon the lotus feet of Krishna, and thus completely situated on the Brahma Buddha platform, he gave up the material body. Purport. According to a Bengali proverb, whatever spiritual progress one makes in life will be tested at the time of death. In Bhagavad Gita 8.6, it is also confirmed. Yam yam vavismaran bhavam tejadi ante kalevaram tam tam evaidi kaunteya sadadat bhava bhavidaha. Those who are practicing Krishna consciousness knows that their examination will be held at the time of death. If one can remember Krishna at death, he is immediately transferred to Goloka Vrindavana or Krishna Loka, and thus his life becomes successful. Prithu Maharaj, by the grace of Krishna, could understand that the end of his life was near, and thus he became very jubilant and proceeded to completely give up his body on the Brahma Buddha stage by practicing the yoga process. It is thoroughly described in the following verses how one can voluntarily give up his body and return home back to Godhead. The yogic process practiced by Prithu Maharaj at the time of death accelerates the giving up of his body while one is in sound health physically and mentally. Every devotee desires to give up the body while it is sound physically and mentally. This desire was also expressed by King Kulashekara in his Mukunda Mala Stotra. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjaranam Advaivame Pishadu Manasa Rajahamsa Prana Prayana Same Kapavada Pittaha Kandavarodhana Vidau Smaranam Kudaste. King Kulashehra wanted to give up his body while in a healthy state, and he thus prayed to Krishna to let him die immediately, while he was in good health and while his mind was sound. When a man dies, he is generally overpowered by mucus and bile, and thus he chokes. Since it is very difficult to vibrate any sound while choking, it is simply by Krishna's grace that one can chant Hare Krishna at the time of death. However, by situating oneself in the Muktasana position, a yogi can immediately give up his body and go to whatever planet he desires. A perfect yogi can give up his body whenever he desires through the practice of yoga. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नित्यामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. I would like to seek blessings from all the assembled devotees and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcomings or adding my own interpretation while presenting this class. Here, through these two slokas, Prabhupada describes the qualities of a Paramhamsa or Mahatma. As a Mahatma, how Prithvi Maharaj fixed his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna while leaving his body. So Prithu Maharaj, we heard from many classes before this, is one of the Shaktyavesha avatar of the Lord. He is an empowered incarnation of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj received Krishna's special power, Shasana Shakti. Shasana means ruling power as a king, which was invested in him. He did his duty very perfectly and then he handed over the throne to his son Vijitswa. Now he is undertaking severe tapasya. He and his wife Archie, who is a partial incarnation of goddess Lakshmi, both of them retired to the forest and he is undergoing severe tapasya. The essence is that at the end of life, we should become very serious. Prithvi Maharaj, being an ideal personality, left home and doing severe austerities in the forest. When he became completely free from the conception of bodily life, he realized Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart as the Paramatma. Premanjana Churida Bhakti Vilojanena. Pure devotees can see the Lord sitting in their own heart as well as in others. Behir Narasimha, Hriday Narasimha, Yado Yado Yami Tado Narasimha. Lord is everywhere, but as a conditioned soul, we cannot see the Lord. The yogis take up the practice to see the Paramatma. The goal of yoga practice is to see the Paramatma. Today, in the modern society, there's a lot of different yoga practices are going on for physical fitness. Actually, they don't know the goal of yoga practices. Yoga is to unite with the Supreme Lord. According to Srila Prabhupada, there is more to yoga than just physical fitness and mystic powers. The ultimate goal of yoga is to realize the presence of God within the heart. The 8 limbs of yoga are yama, abstinences, niyama, observances, asana, postures, pranayama, breath control, pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, dharana, concentration, dhyana, meditation, and samadhi, absorption. And finally, to achieve the Paramatma. The goal is to see the Paramatma. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva savamidhi samahatmasu durlabha. After many birth and death, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Krishna is everything. Everything emanates from Krishna's energy, like sun and sunshine. Krishna's spiritual energy and Krishna's material energy is same. Pure devotees realizes that. Krishna and super soul, Krishna's super soul pervades the entire universe. Only pure devotees can understand Krishna's supremacy. Mahatma is actually Paramahamsa. Mahatma is not some title given to anybody. Mahatma is a person who realizes that Krishna is everywhere. Mahatma surrenders to Krishna and realizes that there is no existence without Krishna. Brahman is Krishna's bodily effulgent. Brahma Jyoti is also Krishna's bodily effulgent, like sunrise. Without sun, there is no sunrise or sunlight. Without Krishna, there is no Brahma Jyoti. Paramatma is also Krishna's expansion. When one comes to that realization, they become Mahatma or Paramahamsas. They are pure devotees. Their only interest is in devotional service. They have the theoretical realization as well as the practice, they practice Bhakti Yoga. They are under the influence of divine energy called Devik Prakriti. But what about us? We are under the influence of Maya and going through Adhyatmik, Adibaudik, and Adidevi kleshas or miseries. Adhyatmic klesha is our own body giving us pain, disease, anxieties, mental illness, and constantly worrying about what will happen in the future. Adibaudik is some other living entities are giving us hard time, misunderstanding us, workplace issues, etc. Adi Devik is the suffering from natural calamities, such as people suffering from heavy rain, snow, landslide, etc. A Mahatma is under the spiritual energy of the Lord. They are not bothered by all these type of kleshas or miseries. They are beyond this. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9:13, Mahatmanastu mam patha devam prakriti ashridaha bhajanti ananya manaso nyatva bhutadim avyayam. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original supreme person, the cause of all causes. Prabhupada was 70 years old when he came to the US to spread Krishna consciousness. He's not used to this type of extreme cold in the East Coast. The chairman of the ship, Srimati Sumati Morarji, told Prabhupada, Swamiji, you will die in the ship. You are not used to this type of weather in the US. Prabhupada had two heart attacks on his journey to US, but he was under the spiritual energy. He had the darshan of the Lord in his dream. After that, crossing the Atlantic Ocean became easy for him. That is Mahatma or Paramahamsa. Krishna is taking in charge of him. Here in with Maharaj, who is a Paramahamsa or Mahatma, he can clearly separate the body and the soul. This happens through bhakti only. Jnana and yoga practices gives us some realization, but in Kali Yuga, who have time to do the Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga? In Kali Yuga, the process is to chant the holy name, do the nine processes of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Admani, in this nine process of devotional service, most of them are involved in chanting the holy name of the Lord. In verse 13, Prithu Maharaj fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna while leaving his body. Srila Prabhupada is saying that it is the desire of every devotee to be physically and mentally fit at the time of death so that we can remember Krishna when the Yamadutas arrive to take us. King Kulashekara is saying in his Mukundamala Stotra, let me die now while my body is in a healthy state. And he prayed to Krishna for that. We should be constantly engaged in Krishna's service and chant the holy name so that we can remember Krishna at the time of death. Srila Prabhupada gives us simple process of chanting 16 rounds and following the regulative principles and do our authorized services. Over time, Krishna gives us a taste in this process. Keep ourselves engaged in this process day after day. Bhakti Yoga is the highest of all yogas, and receiving that is the highest mercy of the Lord. Prithvi Maharaj had a huge kingdom, a lot of responsibilities as a king. He had a family. He did his duty at one stage and then he renounced and prepared his body for the death. The yogic process practiced by Prithvi Maharaj helped him to accelerate the giving up of his body while he was mentally and physically fit. Dhruva Maharaj, when leaving his body, the death personified itself came. Dhruva Maharaj used him as a step to enter the Vaikuntha Vimana. With the grace of Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj, and all Vaishnavas, we are able to continue the bhakti process and pray to the Lord for further advancement. Only with Krishna's mercy we can chant the holy name during the time of death because so much changes are happening in our body during the time of death. Yogis who practice Muktasana position can give up the body whenever they desires, but it is not possible for everyone. Let us chant the holy name. Krishna appeared in this Kali Yuga as Nama Prabhu. Lord Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya and gave us the direct process to go back to Godhead. There is no better process than this. Hare Krishna. I would like to conclude. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo